Today officially marks the full completion of the Bible. So I started reading the Bible officially for the first time in my life, from the beginning of this year. That was in January. And to the glory of God, today is the last day in the month of May. And I will be finishing, or rather I've actually finished the Bible. And here are actually 5 things I've learned from the Bible. The first one is that grace is always sufficient for everybody, right from the New and the Old Testament. So many people actually think that, this word grace started from the New Testament. But even in the Old Testament, there were people that actually made mistakes and God actually redeemed them. One of the second things I learned was that God can actually use anybody. The Bible made me understand that God was actually looking for the most ordinary set of people, not those that had the most strength, not most of them that had the most courage. In fact, most of the people in the Bible had to even self-sabotage themselves before they even later had to have confidence. You understand? And the third thing I learned was that God was not looking for the most perfect or the most confident people. He was looking for the most willing. A lot of the people in the Bible were very even scared to even start what God told them to do, but they were willing enough to do that. If you remember the story of Moses was a stammerer, but he was willing to still go to Egypt. You understand? And the fourth thing I learned was that you do not need a new word to actually start a burden for God. In the sense that, a lot of people like to always wait till they hear a dark voice from God or a confirmation from God. Sometimes it can start from a burden in your heart, and starting that burden in your heart can actually even be God telling you to start something, because the silence of God is still God talking. It's God trying to see if you still listen or act even in conviction. And the final and most important thing I learned was that the problem is not falling down on the ground. No, the problem was now staying falling after you made that mistake. That's why I can say there were a lot of people in the Bible that made mistakes. That's why I said the Bible is full of imperfect people. How is the Bible also trying to tell you that you are still human? You can make mistakes, but grace is sufficient for you. If you look at the story of David, when David committed sexual sin, he still came back to God. If you read Psalm 51 very well, you will see him running back to God, telling God to restore to him the joy of his salvation. And reading the Bible this past few months every day made me understand something, that no matter your mistake, God is still calling you. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much for 3,000 followers. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you so much for liking. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for even being transformed. We're reaching every corner of the world. Thank you so much, and God bless you.